Pushing Dating Water.
Music in Our Trime podcast.
I'm Lejla.
I'm Leonarda. Welcome home.
I'm tired. I'm not going to lie. I'm tired.
Well, burnt out.
Tired, sick.
Yes.
We didn't even come to the studio last week, did we?
Yeah, no, we didn't. We're both sick. We're still sick.
Yeah. Well, last week was a bit different because we kind of planned that we wouldn't come to the studio because we had our first live show, which was phenomenal.
Yes.
Like, the turnout was insane. The show itself was insane.
Yes.
The entertainment was insane. But I think we kind of made that decision that this was actually a special show that we're going to do our first live show, which took place of our weekly recording. Exactly. And thank God, because there is no way I could have come into the studio last week.
How?
There's just no way. It's not possible.
There would have been no way. We were both ill, both had fevers, had these coughs. We still got these coughs. But then we got burnt out. Then we both almost had breakdowns. So
it's all been going on in the Trime HQ in the last week or so. Like, I've really just emotionally, I've been going through it. I'm not gonna lie.
I know you have.
I've been going through it, and I'm laughing, but it's not fucking been funny. There's nothing funny about the way that my emotions have been spiraling.
I know.
The last few weeks.
I've seen your Instagram stories.
Yeah.
I watch those like the Holy Grail. Because when we don't speak and I see you've got a story, I feel like I'm catching up with you.
Yeah, we've been so tired. We haven't even been able to talk like properly how we normally do.
No. I think our voice notes are embarrassing because they're just not at the caliber that we're used to. They're just not at the caliber.
Helio.
Exactly. They're really not. But emotionally, I think after the event, when we had our catch up, before the event, we were like, okay, look, we're not ever doing this again.
Yeah.
And then after the event, we were like, actually, we're going to do another one. We loved it. So
that's typical, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, we're like, never do this again. This is too stressful. And now we're like, how can we make it happen again?
Yeah, exactly. We just we loved it. I loved it. I loved everyone that was there.
Yeah.
Everyone that came had the opportunity to actually see us in action.
Yeah.
And we spoke for a whole hour, just me and you.
Just me and you, yeah. And like as if like an actual podcast.
Yeah.
That was the whole point.
Yeah. And actually we did really well without laughing.
We did.
We did so well.
Crying.
Yeah.
Nearly.
Nearly.
I got a bit emotional when I was talking about Bella, but
exactly. I did swear, but that was who's going to stop that?
Who's going to stop me? None of you.
I think people saw.
It's my show, and I'll say whatever I want.
Guys.
Do you know what I was thinking about this? Yeah, because Bulcher, we went on Albanian UK TV the other day, and Bulcher said about how unfiltered the podcast is and how much he loves that, and I thought, oh, it could be even more unfiltered.
Oh, san skinny paw. San skinny paw.
You haven't seen anything yet. You haven't seen anything yet. I mean, we're pretty unfiltered, but that is just the tip of the iceberg, what they see on the pod. And hopefully as time goes on and But I've really been struggling emotionally the last few weeks, and I really only acknowledged it properly and kind of had an epiphany moment over the weekend, just how much I run away from my problems.
Don't we all?
Shock, horror. Yeah, I know. Like, I know as Albanians we've got
no trauma.
Yeah, no trauma. No whatsoever.
What is trauma? What's trauma? Traum.
That's literally something my mum would say. Hej, sekundjoski.
Nagraj trauma kera på lite så det ser bara så fundet.
That's literally something my mum would say. But yeah, no, I think I really I had to have a good stern talking to myself over the weekend because I've been burning myself out at both ends and the middle. Yeah. Ever since we started Trime, and you know, like we came into this like so enthusiastic, and we are enthusiastic. We love this. Don't get me wrong. Like Trime has got us in a chokehold. Yeah, Trime has got us in a chokehold. Like, it's the amount of effort, it's changed our lives. The amount of effort that we put into it, and how motivated and inspired we are by it, that doesn't change. But like, we've been busy. We've just been going at it like full force. And fine, I get it. Like, it's what the podcast needed, but I think it's okay for us to slow down a little bit.
I was watching a video about a successful businesswoman that's a neurodivergent, and she basically described me and you in one. We're impatient, want everything done now, yesterday.
Yeah. Today is not enough. It has to be yesterday. I wanted it and I wanted it yesterday.
Overwhelm yourself with so much work because you've got so many ideas and you don't know how to categorize and compartmentalize all of those ideas and start from the priority and, you know, trickle down.
See, for me, it's not even that. For me, it's not, because I know all the ideas. I know the vision. I know where I want the podcast to go. I know where I want the movement to go. Like, I know what it is that I want from Trime and what I want us to achieve. For me, it's more using it as a tool to avoid, as a really unhealthy coping mechanism, to avoid actually what's going on deep down inside. And that's actually facing my childhood trauma for me. And ever since we started Trime, it's become more and more prominent just how much I've run away from my childhood.
I'm sure, because you've locked that away and you didn't want to face it. And now Trime, actually, you are now constantly within the
fire.
You're constantly, you know, we're asking each other really hard questions. Although to the viewers, it might be easy questions because we're not asking the viewers personally. We're asking each other, and we've got a duty to be as transparent and as authentic as possible because we owe it to the viewers. And because of that, we have to open up our trauma. We have to open up our scars. So I know what you mean. I know it's like tearing the Band-Aid slowly but surely. And you've got no way to run because Trime is here to stay.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. You're so right. But like 5 years ago, when I left my ex-husband and fleeing him and the abuse and stuff, I did the same thing. I ran straight into the work that I was doing at the time. I was working civil engineering. I just, you know, was literally working any single project I could, packing up my social life, like going out like 3-4 times a week. You know, I was keeping myself busy because I didn't know how to process everything I'd been through and what he'd done to me and things like that. And I had no idea. And I was thinking the other day, but I didn't get burnt out when I was doing that.
No.
I wasn't getting burnt out. I was just going at it and going at it. But I realised that it suited me back then because I genuinely was running away from something I had no idea how to even acknowledge, how to process. How do you even begin to, you know, process all that trauma that someone has put you through when you don't have the skills, like you don't have the tools. But now, where I'm running away from this, I know it's my childhood. Like, I'm running away from having to deal with it and having to talk about it in therapy and having to really unpack it and, you know, reprogram myself and things like that. But my life is so different now. My life isn't, I've been in therapy for 5 years. And so now I know, like, I have the tools and I have the skills on how to deal with this. But old habits die hard. And those old habits of survival, especially for those of us who have, this is not just generational trauma. So this isn't just things that are passed down from our parents. It's also trauma that have been through in our own lives. Like what happened back home, like with genocide and the war. And, you know, on top of that, actually then being through domestic abuse and then having an abusive childhood too.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's not just one thing that's compounding how we process these really traumatic events in our lives. But I'm at a point in my life now where everything's so safe. Like, I have this really safe relationship. My life is safe. I'm comfortable. I'm stable. My body can't run away anymore. It's tired. Your Lord.
I'm not surprised because your body, it has scars. Your body has memory and it's ready to rejuvenate that memory. And your subconscious is tired as well. And it just wants to let go of that. And to let go of it, you have to face it.
It's hard though, because people don't really, because we don't talk about these things, especially in our community. We run away from our mental health issues. Like, we run away from trauma, we act like it doesn't exist. We're joking about it, but actually we genuinely do that.
Yeah.
Because we have never been given any kind of community collectivist healing or recovery for things that we've been through. And that stuff has now infiltrated into my life.
Yeah.
So, like, into my relationship, for example, where at the moment, I even in the last episode, I was speaking about feeling the sense of fear and genuinely feeling absolutely terrified that my partner is going to leave me, like that my partner's going to break up with me.
Yeah.
For what reason, bruv? She's giving me no reason whatsoever. Unprovoked, completely. This emotion in my relationship is unprovoked by her.
Yeah.
This is something that I carry from my life previous to her. The actual fear. And I said to her the other day, I said, this isn't a case of where I'm just like, oh, I'm so lucky to be with you, or like, I'm so grateful to have you. This isn't just that kind of cutesy needing that just tiny little bit of reassurance that, you know, is normal in a relationship. This is actual genuine terror that I'm going to lose her.
Yeah.
For what reason? There's nothing that's actually telling, like, no actual proof in our relationship that says that she's going to break up with me or the relationship's going to fall apart. Nothing, in fact, the complete opposite. But yet my brain tells me that you're not worthy, this woman's going to break up with you.
Yeah, because you're constantly waiting for it because of past experiences, because that's what's happened.
It's like constantly waiting for something bad to happen, constantly. But the issue is whilst it's great, like, to acknowledge it and to, you know, me and Dan, I'm really open with her about how I feel. The fact of the matter is right now I don't know how to quite deal with that yet, because there's so much unpacking I need to do from my childhood. That sense of abandonment doesn't just go away overnight. It takes a lot of work for you yourself, and you have to actually want to do it. Most of my adult life I've not wanted to.
Yeah, exactly.
I said this the other day, that a childhood that has no safety in it, a childhood where, for example, one of the parents, one of the main caregivers that's supposed to keep you safe and protect you in the world is the person who terrorizes you, is a childhood not worth having. Yeah. And that was my childhood, right? And now at the age of 35, I have to somehow undo all of that. I have to undo what someone else did to me. Yeah. You don't just wake up and say, oh, you know what, I'm cured, because there's so many different layers to it. Like that sense of fear that someone's going to leave me because I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable. Right now, that's ruling me, like, because it's affecting so much in my life. Like it's affecting, when I get like this, I try and control the things that I can control. So
and you become obsessive.
That's it. And then everything becomes obsessive, compulsive, and like it
stops you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what I've been doing is throwing myself into work, making myself so busy that I can't even sleep at night because I've got task after task after task. And then on top of that, socialising. I haven't done much of that. But any gap I've had in my schedule, I've packed it with something social. Yeah. Whether it's with Dan or Bella or friends, things like that. And I've got to stop, I'm tired. Like even now as I'm talking, I can hear my voice. Yeah. It's getting, because I'm so tired and just can't do it anymore. And trying to control my being busy with work, trying to control my eating. I've said it here before, when I get like this, I either undereat or overeat, anything to just have some kind of control. And it's not healthy. It's not serving me anymore. Yeah. So something that did work 5 years ago is not working in my life right now. Yeah. And I don't know what to do other than I can say, yeah, I've got to stop this. I've got to stop being so busy, and I've got to, I recognize all of these things, but now it's like, I'm tired. Why is it every single time I think I've figured out what recovery, like I'm thinking, oh, I'm okay. There's like another new chapter, another new layers, another new part of my journey.
It's a journey. A whole journey comes with ups and downs. I'm not trying to downplay it, and I'm not trying to just be like, it's a bad meal. That's not what I'm trying to do.
Where have I heard that before?
I'm not trying to do that at all. I'm just from my perspective, I guess. It's a journey, and a journey has ups and downs. I think the positive thing that I can get is that you know you're there. Like you know, that's it. You're at the doorstep, and you know you need to stop. To actually do that, it's a journey that you have to do yourself.
That's it.
Within your own thoughts or with your therapist, because honey, I'm not qualified
for this bullshit.
I'm qualified as a best friend therapist, but you know that you
and that's fact. Like that's fact. It's work that could only really be undertaken professionally with someone who understands trauma, someone who gets it, like who can safely unpack something that's traumatic in your childhood. Exactly. Like I've said it before, like there's so much stuff from my childhood that I can't access. I know it's there, but I can't access it because I dare not think about it.
Yeah, because you almost feel like you're going to go through this rabbit hole and you don't know if you're going to be able to climb out of it emotionally.
That's the fear.
Yeah, and that's you know, that's what it is. But I think the best gift that you've got is the people around you. You've got Dan, which is amazing. You've got Bella, which is amazing. You've got me, which I'm amazing.
You are. You are.
You've got so many people around you, and you've just got like a whole network of women, And now we've also got Trime.
Yeah.
You know that you've got cushions wherever kuchkaish, you know you've got someone.
And that's what's different this time. Like this time, putting me out, I know that it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like we're laughing and joking, but I do know that's the difference this time, that I know that I'm not going to fall apart. I'm not going to die. Like it's okay. Everything is going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's just very scary.
Yeah, I know. But I lived in a very safe house. But I gave myself trauma. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just hearing myself talk and I'm like, I don't think I gave myself trauma. Your siblings are going to watch this
like, yes. Yes, you did. You gave us trauma.
For a fact, I know I did. But, that's the curse of being the oldest and looking after all of them. But like I said at the event, I used to stress myself as a child, as a teenager, and as early adult in everything I did. It either had to go my way or no way. It either had to go perfectly or I was not good. It is what it is. And that came with school, that came with career, that came with my fuck, that came with all the relationships I had. But it's because I'm always like, Leo. Fuck off, you're a bitch. I don't like you. Yeah. Genuine, not that I'm waiting for you to do that.
Happens. No. And this is my point. This is, I guess, like what I'm trying to say is what's happening to me right now is that trying so desperately to control certain things. Yeah. And it's purely because you're just scared.
Yeah, that's it.
It's all out of fear. But my number one saying is nothing good comes from fear.
No, nothing.
Because all I've done is I've stressed myself out. I've put extra pressure on my partner, extra pressure on the relationship. And like me and Dan talk openly about, getting married and having children. And I was saying to her the other day, I was like, I really do want those things. Like I genuinely, I can't wait for the day that we're married. I can't wait for the day that we expand our family. But I think I've been putting so much pressure on it because of, I'm scared I'm going to lose you.
Yeah.
And so in my head, I think, going back to that internalized misogyny, if we have children and we're married, she can't leave me.
Yeah.
Because what have we been taught our whole lives?
Exactly. That when you're married, that's it. You're in a box and you're in shackles and there is no key. Yeah. That shackle is basically welded together. There is no way out.
Yeah.
And so I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
Absolutely. And it's like, because this is what I've been processing. This sounds like I'm just diarrhea, like verbal vomiting right now.
This is what Trime is. This is what Trime is.
Everyone's coming here listening to our private therapy session right now.
For free.
Exactly. And that's what it was. Like I was thinking about my relationship with her. It's, why do I feel like I need to get married and have children now? Like we need to do this now. And it really, a lot of it does boil down to, I think in my head, because I don't actually think this about anyone else's relationship, but I think this about myself.
Of course, because
I wouldn't leave her if we're not married and don't have children. I wouldn't leave her.
Yeah, never.
No, never, not in a million years. The thought wouldn't even cross my mind. Yeah. But because it's me, I think I will have more value in this relationship if we're married and we have children.
Yeah. Even though she wasn't even raised in an Albanian household. She doesn't even expect it.
I don't have a heteronormative relationship. No. And yet that is still in my brain.
Yeah, because it's engraved in our brains. It's constantly engraved. And I guess this is what I grieve the most for the Albanian women is their environment. If they don't have someone, I had my mum. If they don't have someone like a parent or an aunt or just someone that has like an authoritarian figure somewhere, drilling down independency, drilling down, you can leave, it's fine, it's safe, no one is going to abandon you, but drilling the opposite of like, you can't leave, you can't bring shame to the family. If you don't have kids, you're going to be seen as infertile and seen as an object and not actually a human being. If you don't look a certain way, if you don't fit certain beauty standards by, beauty in the face, beauty in the body, if you don't speak a certain way, if you're not a certain height, if you don't have a certain degree, if you don't have a certain career, if you don't... Well, I'm on a roll now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the list is fucking endless.
If you don't wash, literally, if you don't wash the dishes a certain way, if you don't clean a certain way, if you don't take, if you don't if you don't wash your bathroom in a certain way, you're shamed for it.
Yeah.
And I grieve so much that Albanian women don't have someone there to be like, actually, it's okay. And my mum, me and her are so close. We're so close. We're best friends. I don't even, half the time I don't even see her like my mum. I see her as just a best friend. Only when my sisters became adults, she started saying, it's okay if you leave. It's okay, because she always saw the strength in me. I never complained. I don't tell my parents anything that happens between me and my husband. None of it. I don't bring anyone into my house, like relationship. The only person that knows everything, my darkest secret, is you. Like, that's it.
They're not even that dark.
They're dark to me. They're dark to me. Bitch, they're dark to me. So she always saw this really strong front. She always saw me just handle my stuff, never complain.
Well, yeah, because I think a lot of people see you as the epitome of a matriarch.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is what a matriarch is.
Yeah.
It's you actually, to me, you embody that.
Yeah. And just before this started recording, I was telling you, my issue. And in those times, I feel like I'm having to be very, 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 very strong. Very strong.
You don't have to be.
I know. And that's probably why I feel so out of it.
But that's what we do as Albanian women, right? We carry this strength like as if it's like some kind of martyrdom, like we're going to get rewarded for it. No one fucking rewards you for doing it. No one rewards you for sacrificing yourself.
No.
Stop sacrificing yourself.
If anything, they'll just be like, oh, Sajina.
Yeah.
When you die.
Last episode we told you,
when you die,
stop idolizing men.
Yeah.
This episode we're telling you, stop sacrificing yourself.
Stop sacrificing, because the day you get buried or cremated or whatever, everyone's going to be like, Sajina.
Yeah.
Her whole life.
She did it for other people. Yeah.
Her whole life.
And this is what I've noticed in my relationship with Dan. So I've said before about, like I very much carry that, she's coming home from work. I need to make sure that the house is tidy and the dinner is done and things like that. Like, sometimes she'll come home, she's like, babe, I'm not even hungry. And in my head, because I've made the effort to cook and clean, I then am like, what do you mean you're not hungry?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, I get annoyed and resentful, but she didn't ask me to cook for her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's okay for her not to be hungry.
Yeah.
But because in my head, I think I've made all of this effort. I've been working all day. I've done the school run. I've done the laundry.
Yeah.
I've made sure there's food on the table for you to come home. I've been sacrificing myself. And my partner has not once expected that of me. I did it to myself.
Yeah. I do the same.
And this is the depth of how much that message that is ingrained into us as young Albanian girls into being, Albanian women into adulthood.
Yeah.
That even relationships that go completely against our heteronormative, patriarchal way of living in the Albanian community, like my relationship that goes completely against that, I still have that mentality.
Yeah. And all it does is it stops us. It stops us achieving what we want to do, because you're constantly thinking about the stuff that you have been taught to do.
Yeah.
Like cook, clean,
Yeah, because what's my value if I don't do that?
Exactly.
And this is the next part of my journey, like actually figuring out who I am outside of that.
Yeah.
Not as a wife, not as a mum. And I'm very, very like, I don't put that mum label on myself.
No, you don't.
I don't. Like, I don't introduce myself as like, oh, I'm Lejla, I'm a mum. I actually ick.
Yeah.
I ick. That's my biggest ick with women, is when they introduce themselves as a mum. I'm like, there's so much more to you than that.
Yeah, exactly.
But actually, I'm fucking learning that it's so ingrained in me that when it comes to a partnership, I think that that's one of my biggest values. And it's not.
Yeah, it's not. My
biggest values is it should be about me.
Exactly.
And what I have to give to the world, not as a mum,
exactly,
not as a partner.
Exactly. This is a really tough conversation that we're having, because we both of us have two different experiences, but both of us have the same feelings. Because you feel like that, and I feel like the oldest sister, the caregiver, the caretaker, the therapist, everything. And even in my marriage, I sometimes feel like that, which I shouldn't have to feel like that. I shouldn't have to feel like I'm looking after someone else's grown ass son. I shouldn't, but I do. And only, I think after the event, I don't know, maybe we were both thinking in our heads, because only,
spiraling.
I swear, because only after the event, I actually sat down and I was like, and we had a conversation. I was like, I want to do more. Like, I can do graphic design. I can do this. Like, I want to do, like, I want to be, more financially stable. Chip. Everyone needs money.
Yeah.
And the last week, I was really ill, but the last week, while I was planning and doing everything and planning to sit down and create content and, watching set, because I like to prepare. For a creative brain that creates stuff, I have to prepare stuff. I have to get ideas. It's like a Pinterest board in my brain.
Yeah, it's getting inspo, yeah.
And yesterday and today, I've just kind of felt like very deflated, because I'm like,
all that pressure you're putting on yourself.
I'm like, yeah, but I'm also like, kushiyam. Kush multinyam. Like, kush, like, who am I actually? Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, I don't want to be the older sister. And I had to break that down to my sisters. I had to, last week I was like, guys, stop. Like, nukumoimo yom ljoth. I'm either going to end up in my var or in the hospital. I need you guys to give me space. Like, stop.
Wow,
so
that's big.
Yeah, I just had to. I had to, because they've been having so many. I've got two sisters. My sister did announce her pregnancy, so now I can say it. But I've got two sisters that are pregnant. And there are just so many hormones and so many, like, Leo, what do you think about this? I've never been pregnant. Why are you calling me? But it's, Leo knows everything.
Yeah.
Leo this, Leo that.
Because you're their, like, safest person.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if they call my mum, I'm like, but kanske kan hon med mig slätan? Kanske kan hon att kom tar hon en basingumbo? Literally. So they don't go to her.
Why are our mums so dramatic?
So dramatic. She always comes to me, she's like, chikan boyen yo, and then literally 2 seconds later, but mira hebo, asnyo masebo, a purmu miro kona, asnyo masebo, mamir chika am registo. So, like, I had to say that to my sisters, and then in my own house, I've had to kind of let everything go, because OCD cleaner, obsessive over cleaning, obsessive over. The thing
is, we've said this before, it's not even about the cleaning.
No.
It's the compulsion.
Because
you have to get that compulsion out some way, somehow.
Exactly.
And for a lot of people, it manifests in cleaning. Like,
exactly.
Not take away from the actual, what it manifests into, but
exactly.
I think the root cause is the compulsion.
Exactly. And I think, I'm at that age now where I don't cry about these things. Before I did. Now I'm just too much of a bitch to even cry. Like, I don't cry.
I'm not going to lie.
No, I don't.
I cry. I don't know if anyone's figured that out on the podcast, but I cry. But, like, if, for example, like, if there's an issue going on in my life and, I don't know, say you have, like, a tiff with your partner, I'll be crying all day.
No, or no. Like, I'm the opposite. Like, I
really?
burn. And either I have to get it out, or it's just gonna swell, and it's just gonna, like, it's gonna be a recipe for disaster, because that's when my downfall comes, because I start adding other stuff, like, you don't, like, I don't know, like, no, you're not where you want to be in life. Boom. You're not this.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. And then at the end of it, you're like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, you start getting suicidal thoughts, and it's just like all kinds of stuff.
It's a whole shitstorm.
It's a whole shitstorm. And I don't cry, but I become silent, like, just quiet. But these 2 days, I've just felt very, very icky, very, like, not even myself.
Yeah.
Like you, I feel like I'm at that doorstep, like, where I just need to open it and be like, this is Leo. This is Leo.
Oh my God.
This is Leo.
Are we both, like...
That's why I said, like, I feel like we're both thinking.
Are we both about to enter a completely new...
I think so.
...chapter of who we are?
I think so.
Are we about to become even more bad bitches than we already are?
Yes. I think so.
I was going to leave it on, like, let them find out. Come back next week and find out.
No, you can't don't big poop yet because there's no going back, Lejla. I don't have the mental capacity, okay? Please. I need to stay alive for 3 months, okay? Like, I don't want to end up doing the 3 month podcast in a psych ward, okay?
No. And this is, you're so right. Like, you're hitting the nail on the head. This podcast has been the best thing. And the other day I said, the best thing's ever happened to me. No, this hasn't happened to us. We made this happen. So this has been the best thing that I know that I've done in my whole entire career. And it's been the motivation and the inspiration behind keeping me awake and, keeping me going. Like all of this amazing things that we've got to come.
And the amazing people we've met.
And amazing people. And that's why I say it's got us by a chokehold because
it's the only thing that's actually keeping us together
right now. Yeah, like where we feel broken emotionally and physically. Oh my God!
I feel like I'm at that. I'm genuinely at the edge of that epiphany because I wrote a LinkedIn post for all my millennials. I'm on LinkedIn. For all my Gen Zs, that's actually a professional site. Where I was like. I never felt so comfortable and just in my element than I did in Alb UK TV.
Wow.
Because it's just like...
You smashed it.
I don't know what came over me.
Listen, you lot need to go watch the interview. I flopped.
No, you did not.
No, I flopped. I was exhausted. I was there like a zombie. I couldn't keep up with the conversation. I was so tired. My ears were ringing, stopping myself from choking because of my cough. Leo carried that interview. I went home and I said that to Dan. I was like, Leo carried the interview. She smashed it. Without her, there's no way I could have done the interview.
But that's why Trime is Trime.
Like I was sitting there thinking, I don't know why I'm here. Like I don't know why I'm here.
You know what?
I feel like I was bringing it down.
No, you weren't. You absolutely weren't. You weren't. I think you did so well because I was fighting with my cough. And each time you looked at me to speak, I was like, okay, this bitch is getting me to speak. So I spoke and I don't know what came over me.
You're
just
amazing.
Spoke all Albanian. I don't know.
Phenomenal.
I don't know what. I think it's Bucha. I think Bucha just... Because I've got on WhatsApp and like we speak sometimes and I just love her. And, even Anita, she sent us a message like, I heard you both ill, like, I hope you get better. So I think she made me feel so comfortable that I put all those words in Albanian that I never thought I could. Genuinely, but I'm so happy. But also at the back of my head, I had my aunts. I was like, they're going to watch this. So I want them to understand exactly what I'm trying to say. But that on my LinkedIn post, I literally said, I've never felt in my element like I did right there and then. I was like, this is what I'm made for. And I think that epiphany of like, you just need to get in front of a camera and flourish.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe this is what Trime is doing to us. Like, even though we started it for this bigger, grander reason, and it wasn't about us personally, but on a level, it has completely changed our lives personally.
It has.
And it's allowing us it's given us the space and the safety to actually really fully come into ourselves.
And explore stuff.
Yeah.
Because when could anyone have told you would be doing podcast episodes for 4 months straight and be so comfortable in front of a camera and in front of a microphone?
Well, yeah, because I love talking.
Oh, okay.
I love talking. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, for me it would be like, no, I could never see myself.
For me, it's the emotional journey that took me on, because there was so much of now we're figuring out there's my childhood.
Yeah.
So much of my childhood that I just didn't want to acknowledge. Because it was so painful for me. It was so painful, the trauma that I carried through from my childhood, and that's associated to my dad. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. It makes sense. It's just, I feel sorry for the fact that you've missed out on that. You've missed out on the culture. You've missed out on, maybe key moments in your life where you could have grown up with that environment.
You know what? I think the hardest part for me is when when you're isolated, first of all, by, a parent, you then get to a point where you're like, okay, I can make a choice here. I can either continue fighting and try and gain their attention and their love, which is futile. That's never going to work.
Yeah.
You're only expending your own emotional energy, which is absolutely exhausting. I actually think if anyone's in my position, especially for Albanian women who married outside the culture, who have mixed heritage children, who are gay, if you are constantly trying to get that validation from your parents who have, you know, isolated you, outcasted you, just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop. You're not going to get what you think you're going to get.
Exactly.
Even if you're looking at it for closure, closure is just actually taking you away from how you really truly feel inside and all the trauma that has been caused by it. My advice would be to stop.
Yeah.
And just do things because you want to, not for other people, and not to be accepted by other people, right? Not for other people's validation. But I say that because I did that all of my 20s.
Yeah.
Trying to be validated, trying to chase, you know, trying to get my dad to love me and to be okay with who I am. And that was never going to happen.
Never.
And the day that I actually was like, you know what, this is never going to be how you want it to be, was probably one of the most freeing days of my life.
Yeah.
Because it freed me. Yeah. Then I came out as gay and I was like, actually, this is who I am. I stopped trying to gain validation where I wasn't wanted.
Yeah.
I stopped trying to fit into places where I wasn't wanted, and I started becoming my true self. And then I found my tribe.
Yeah.
This is what Trime is. Trime is my tribe.
Exactly.
Trime is our tribe.
Exactly.
There's no way Trime would have even been born if it wasn't for my own lived experiences, you know. I got to a point in my life where I realised all these big life decisions I'd made without my parents' validation, without their support. In fact, the complete opposite. And now here I am. I did all of this by myself. The life I have, I created for myself on my own. I didn't have anyone else's backing. Yeah. And so then you get to that point where people are like, oh, what do your parents think of the podcast? And I'm like, I mean, I know what my mum thinks. Yeah. Mum just like, "Dishkachash on Instagram, TikTok, Lejla, sadi dishkachash." No, that's what she tells everyone. Yeah. But, you know, some in our community, like as women, we're so desperate for our father's validation. And for me, I'm like, I don't actually care. Yeah. I don't actually need that validation. Everything I've achieved in my life, I did it on my own. Yeah. Yeah. No. I had to become my own parent.
Yeah. No, and I can understand. I probably don't know how it feels, but I can understand. I know how it feels in other, I guess, in other situations. You know, being a bigger girl, like that's just, you know, our community loves to give their opinion.
So and boring. Can people actually find some intellectual things to say?
They don't, because
you're fat.
Yeah,
you're cool.
Like, thanks, cool.
You're a feminist. You're a lesbian. Wow, thanks for pointing out all the actual things that I know.
Thanks for telling me who I am.
Well done.
Thank you.
Fucking hell. Anyway,
but what Trime has opened my eyes a lot is understanding who is who and who is who and actually how they think, and putting it in perspective. And I'm talking about people that I grew up with in family and stuff. And it's put this massive perspective in my brain where I'm like, did I believe you thought?
Do you remember when we were talking about someone said to you, did you have a dickhead dad like the rest of us? Yeah. Or was your dad actually nice? And you said, no, my dad was lovely and, you know, got a great relationship with him. And I said, those of us who have those experiences with our parents, a lot of them will say that and will have that experience because they went against the grain. Yeah. And so it's easy for a lot of people in our community to say, you know, my parents weren't like this, my upbringing was like this. But how much did you go against the grain? Exactly. How much did you actually challenge that misogynistic, that internal belief in your parents? And is that why you have a really great relationship? Because you didn't do anything to challenge them. I'm not saying that for you personally, because obviously I know everything about you. Yeah. But I'm just saying this in general. Yeah. To this whole like, oh, my childhood was great. Yeah. Okay, great. But how much did you go against the grain and challenge your parents? Exactly. And is that why your childhood was great?
And that's where, because po duçto me leave, that's when now that I'm doing Trime and my parents are asking me about Trime and my siblings and everyone. And my sisters were really scared in the beginning because they're overprotective. over their older sister, like, bitch, I looked after you, like, Lejla. But like, they were really overprotective because they've always seen Leo as this one with so many, having to deal with so many emotions of everyone else, that some, you know, I did, you know, they were my safe space for a long time before, you know, you came into my life.
Brought you into this chaos.
But now that my parents ask me about these things and we talk about these topics, I see my parents in a whole different light. And I see them, my mum, I see her the same. And I know exactly what, you know, I know she's got internalized misogyny. I know it. She knows it because I always remind her of it. But she doesn't actually see it with her own eyes. And my dad is the one that surprised me a lot because he was my idol. And he still is my idol. And I love him so much. Like, I would give my own heart for my dad. But there were some opinions that I thought he didn't have. I thought he didn't have, and he does have. And that for me just put in perspective of actually, you know, what you're saying is because you've never actually gone against the grain, and you've had that safety because they've never had to say to you
you're wrong,
you're wrong, or their true opinions about something, because you've never actually done anything against it. You know, so about 30 years old, but I'm not hurt by it.
It's a journey though, isn't
you know,
it? Like, everything you do in your life is a journey, and it is really difficult when you get to certain parts of your life and you're saying, like, you are like, oh, okay, this isn't exactly what I thought it was.
Exactly.
And it's hurtful.
It is, yeah.
It's hurtful because then you have to unlearn everything you thought you knew.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think the only thing that's on my side is the fact that I'm an adult and I've got my own, like, safe space. I live with my husband. So, you know, I like, whatever you think, you can stay in that cave then.
Like, you're not alone. So many people go through things like this with their parents.
Yeah.
You're absolutely not alone.
Yeah.
And this isn't just an albeit like exclusive to our community.
No.
This is like worldwide.
Yeah.
The older generation need a lot of education when it comes to how much the world has changed, how progressive the world is, and that those ideals, they're not okay. They don't serve society anymore.
Exactly.
And you know, certain ideals are they're not just not okay, but they're actually dangerous and violent.
Exactly.
You're not alone in that. Like, so many people will go through that with their parents.
Yeah. No,
I've just got to a point in my life I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
I
That's why I don't get invited anywhere.
Yeah.
My family don't invite me nowhere.
No, well, same here, because I never go. Like, I'm very particular. If I don't like someone, I'm very, like, I stick to my word. If I don't like you, I will never show up. I don't give a shit who you are. I don't like to give my energy unnecessarily to anyone. If I don't like you, if you said something and it's ticked me off the really wrong way, I'm going to respect you, but I'm not going to come up. I'm not going to turn up. Because, you know, I'm not about to go to prison for no bitch. So
I just don't get invited. They know what will happen if I go to places.
Same. So they know. They just
don't invite me. And you know what? I'm okay with that.
Exactly.
Because if I have to go somewhere and I can't be myself, I don't want to be there.
Exactly. Why would you want to be there?
I don't want to be there. I can't be asked. My family or not family, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be somewhere where I can't be my authentic self.
Exactly. And it's why I don't go to Kosovo a lot, because when I go to Kosovo, I know that I have to prepare myself a lot for, like, you know, all the questions, the judgment, the this, the that. I mean, it helps the fact that everyone knows that I will rent a car, I'll rent my own place, and I will go out for coffee by myself. Everyone laughs at me for going out by myself in Kosovo. Because they all think, like, you should be going out with your husband, you should be going out with your cousins.
What, and have no independence?
Like, are you stupid? I will go out
and be just completely codependent on everyone else.
But that's what I expect in Kosovo. But from my parents, I think I've accepted it. This has happened recently. I've accepted it. But I think I'm just at that stage in my life where I'm like, cool. You know, I had a great childhood. Thank you so much. From dear Shum, Kapiten. Kapiten Pelens.
Again, like, so many people go through that in their adulthood, especially with things that are happening in the world, like with Palestine and what's happening in America. And there's going to be so many people our age having these difficult conversations with their parents. You're not the only one.
Yeah, I think so.
So many people are going to be able to relate to what you're saying right now.
Especially because I think the millennial generation and the Gen Z generation probably see right from the wrong a bit easier than everyone else does because we've got social media. We know what neurodivergency means. We know what autism actually really means. We know ADHD. We know mental health illnesses. We know all of these things a bit better than the older generation.
Yeah.
That's not to say to excuse them, because nothing excuses you. But they've got this ideology in their heads that we've worked hard. We did this. Like, it's just, it never stops. And they don't actually realize that we're the ones unpacking everything. We're having to unpack all the trauma.
It's interesting listening to someone, for example, like you say, at the age of 30. It's interesting me listening to you say that, because this is what happened to me in my teenagers.
Yeah.
Like, I went through this when I was a teenager, and I was labelled all sorts of things. Like, I think rebel was probably the nicest label I ever had in my whole entire life.
Yeah.
Because they said a lot worse than that.
Yeah.
Like, Shumkan Shamu.
Yeah.
Skamir Kujaj, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I was young. I was a child standing up to this really
Exactly.
violent misogynistic belief that our community has.
And it had an impact on your mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because now I'm 35, still in fucking therapy, bruv. Probably
Doesn't
forever.
matter. It doesn't
forever.
Doesn't matter.
All because I think women should be treated with respect and dignity and not with violence and abuse.
Well, if that puts us in therapy, then so be it. Like, what else can you do? Mami in Makona dreit, som är hungermått. Just on some jet. Mami in Makona
Hey,
dreit.
se pasha zotin. Kakina hi, kakina dol. Chet episode, nuk e di.
I feel so better. I feel so much better, actually.
Me too.
Because you guys need to see all the behind the scenes. Like, you really need to see a lot of the stuff. And
this is just the tip of the iceberg.
this is just the tip.
And that's what I was saying, to go back to what we said at the beginning. How unfiltered can you actually be? I think we can get even more unfiltered.
What do you have in mind?
Well,
Oh my God.
Trime After Dark.
Trime After Dark. Cool. Kinemi på Kreitsanet. Yes, 100%.
Because I feel like they're missing out on certain things, and it's not fair.
No, it's not.
I feel like
fair.
we're doing them a disservice.
Yeah, exactly.
To bleep it out.
But on behind the scenes, we are a bit more raw, and it's stuff that it's a comedy show. It's a comedy show. It's very unfiltered.
Everyone thinks we're so serious. No one sees how much of a comedy act we actually are.
No one.
That we're doing them. I'm telling you, we're doing them a disservice.
Yeah.
We have to figure out a way to get the unfiltered side of us
Yes.
through to them. Stick around, find out. Maybe who knows.
Yes.
Also, I think what I've gathered from this conversation is that me and you are just about to start our own journeys as well, finding out who we are, what's our value outside of these gendered roles that have been forced onto us in our community. Who are we outside of these gendered roles?
We shall see.